Welcome to our video today. In our video today, we are going to analyze Manchester City. We are going to analyze how Pep Guardiola might have to alter his tactical setup next season to incorporate new players and key starters in his team. Like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Manchester City won the treble last season, and this saw them employ a tactical philosophy that has brought Pep Guardiola a huge success. However, Manchester City have lost two key players in their starting 11. These players are Kyle Walker and Ilkay Gundogan. Ilkay Gundogan played as a captain and therefore a huge miss for Manchester City. So Manchester City deployed themselves in a 3-2-4-1 formation last season, with Walker starting as a right centre-back in a back three. We are going to analyze what Walker offered Manchester City and why he will be missed. So in this right-hand position, Walker was able to play balls to Stones, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, who occupied the right-hand flank. At times when the opposition committed one forward in a press, Walker knew when to tuck in and play as an inverted fullback alongside Stones and Rodri. This enabled Manchester City to have numerical advantage in midfield. Alternatively, Walker's position as a third centre-back enabled Manchester City to progress the ball quite well down the right-hand flank. Manchester City like to attack the half spaces. Therefore, most teams commit an extra midfielder to track the runs of De Bruyne. Guardiola adapts this by dropping one pivot to create a side overload, but at times some teams use a tight man marking system whereby they are able to cover all the three players from Manchester City from overloading the opposition. Therefore, Walker uses his intelligent reading of the game by pushing forward from his right centre-back position and overlapping Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne, enabling Manchester City to have quantitative superiority in the right-hand area. This enables Manchester City to create a lot of chances against opponents that sees Manchester City players score a lot of goals, especially creating space for the most creative player, Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne with space is able to create chances for the likes of Haaland and Gundogan, making late runs in the box. One key strength of Walker in this team is his recovery pace. Walker is one of the best 1v1 defenders with his pace. Last season, especially the game against Real Madrid, opponents tried to hit the space after Walker has overlapped forward. But Walker's incredible pace was able to make runs and cover and make excellent ball recoveries to win the ball back for Manchester City and prevent opposition wingers from winning the ball and kick-starting counter-attacks at Manchester City. This was a key asset to Pep Guardiola's Champions League run and also enabled them to win matches in the Premier League. So therefore, Walker will be missed. In these situations, this will enable Stones to operate in his preferred midfield position, dictating the tempo of the game, linking up with the forwards, and not worrying on whether to drop back to his defense line to give his team defensive solidity. And this is one of the key advantages that Kyle Walker gave to Manchester City. Now, the other player is Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan was the captain for Manchester City, and Gundogan used to occupy this left-hand half-space position. In this position, he would slip in through balls for Grealish to make runs in the box, as well as slip through balls for Erling Haaland. He had an excellent link-up play with Erling Haaland, always operating like a second striker behind Haaland. Gundogan in this position was effective in attacking the space in front of the box, making late runs in the box and scoring a lot of cutbacks and tap-ins. And this was a key strength that Gundogan gave to Manchester City, and later in the season he was so crucial in ensuring that Manchester City seal up the Premier League title and also win the FA Cup. Manchester City's 3-2-4-1 formation was so effective in them winning the treble. Gundogan's presence in midfield and high up the pitch will enable him to use his excellent defensive skills to win the ball back and through a counter press to kickstart quick counter attacks for the pacey Erling Haaland. Without the ball, John Stones will drop back in his defensive line, and therefore Rodri will be isolated in midfield. Gundogan was effective in knowing when to read the play, dropping from his attacking midfield position and joining Rodri in midfield to give Manchester City their default 4-4-2 without the ball. Gundogan in this position was disciplined and knew when to spring forward to press and when to sit back to cut passing lanes. Playing the role that should be played with one player, Gundogan played it as a single player, showing how effective he was for his team both offensively and without the ball. His departure to Barcelona might be something that may affect Guardiola next season. Now, Manchester City have made the signings of Mateo Kovacic and the potential signing of Gvardiol. This might see the change of a new system by Pep Guardiola. The departure of Gundogan to Barcelona might see the entry of Mateo Kovacic in the Gundogan role, with the departure of Kyle Walker, which might see Akanji shifting to the right centre-back position with Gvardiol pushing towards the left-hand flank. Gvardiol in this position is one of the best left-sided centre-back. His excellent left foot enables him to open up the pitch down the left for Manchester City, something that Manchester City lacked while playing Akanji in this position. Gvardiol is also an excellent 1v1 defender who is able to win the ball against pacey and tricky wingers, giving Manchester City defensive solidity. Kovacic in this position is more of a dribbler and a creator. Kovacic can play through balls for the runs of Grealish and Haaland in this position. Kovacic can use his excellent dribbling abilities to beat his marker and open up spaces for Manchester City forwards to score. And this is something that Manchester City did not have in Ilkay Gundogan, but Kovacic will give them in plenty. The downside of having Kovacic in this advanced role is that Kovacic, unlike Gundogan, is not famed in dropping and making late runs in the box to receive cutbacks, especially from De Bruyne and other Manchester City players. However, he can win the ball through counter press and kickstart Manchester City's counter attacks. Without the ball, Kovacic can play the Gundogan role by dropping in midfield and playing as a second pivot to Rodri. And this is something that he has done effectively together with Jorginho at Chelsea, and therefore he might not find it difficult repeating it again at Manchester City. Alternatively, if Manchester City fail to sign Gvardiol, Guardiola might decide to drop Kovacic as a left back, with Bernardo Silva coming in midfield to play alongside Rodri. This might see the introduction of Phil Foden down the right-hand side. Therefore, Manchester City next season might line up in their usual 3-2-5 formation, but with Foden playing down the right, but Kovacic inverting rather than Stones dropping in midfield. Kovacic in this deep position can use his press resistance and passing abilities to dictate the play and enable Manchester City to maneuver the ball as well as maintain possession. These are some of the things that Guardiola can implement at Manchester City next season. Thanks for staying with us till the end of the video. Thanks for watching.